Hey Florida traveler, it's Krista here, and today if you are interested in kayaking or canoeing down the Wekiva River, I'm going to go over all of those details and show you why you should absolutely consider adding this to your Florida itinerary. Let's get into it. So one of the first things that I do want to admit to you guys is I am by far not an expert in kayaking. I've only done it a handful of times and I fell in love with it by kayaking down the Wekiva River. So the Wekiva River will always hold a very special place in my heart because of it. When we started our kayaking trip this time around, we started in beautiful Wakaiva Springs, which is where we normally launch from. Wakaiva Springs is in Apopka, which is a 7,000-acre park located just under an hour north of the major attractions in Orlando. Wakaiva Springs is a great place to start because it has a really great swimming area that you're able to enjoy after your kayaking trip. You can launch your own canoe or kayak from Wakaiva Springs for $2. If you don't have your own canoe or kayak, you are able to rent one from the park concession stand. You can rent a single kayak or canoe for $35 for the first 2 hours and a double or triple kayak or paddleboard for $40. If you want, there are also guided tours that are available from the concession stand as well. Wakaiva Springs empties into the 16 miles of the Wekiva River, and I think there is no better way to be able to see the natural beauty that this river has to offer than by taking a canoe or kayak. There are over 8 hours of river to enjoy, and you just can't get any closer to nature than this. Just listen to how wonderful this sounds. It's such a nice and peaceful change from the constant music, sound, and people that you have while you're visiting one of the theme parks. And it is nice to be able to get out in nature every once in a while, and while you're out here you will come across quite a bit of wildlife such as birds, fish, turtles, and a few gators. And yes, I did just say gators. It is Florida, of course, and remember that no matter where you go, that gators can reside in any body of water. So even in the beautiful clear water of the springs, please make sure to always be aware of your surroundings. We came across at least 3 gators during our 2-hour trip down and back up the river. Granted, they weren't very big gators, but they were big enough to do damage if you got close enough. So be on the lookout and stay safe while you're out there. One of the things that I love so much about kayaking in the Spring River is that it has this beautiful crystal clear water. When the water is shallow enough, you can see straight to the bottom and see all the wonderful wildlife underneath you. I love being able to look over the edge of the craft and notice a turtle or a large fish swimming below you. If you are renting a canoe or kayak, please remember that the river is not circular. And as far as you float down the river, you will have to paddle back. And the return journey is against the current of the stream, so it will typically take you twice as long. So make sure that you keep track of the time as you float down the river, because trust me, it is so easy to want to keep going and wonder what's around the river bend. You are required to return your canoe or kayak before the park concession stand closes at the end of the day. If you don't return your craft before the concession stand closes, you will be charged an additional $1 for every minute that you go past the closing time. One of the things that I do want you guys to be aware of is Wakaiva Springs can fill up quickly, especially during the summer months and on the weekends. Wakaiva Springs and the Wekiva River is an incredibly popular place for us locals, and we will flock there in droves during the weekend. So if you do plan on launching from Wakaiva Springs, you'll have to make sure that you arrive as early as possible. Wakaiva Springs opens at 8 a.m. and it is known to fill up within the first hour, especially in the summer months. And there are several times where I have been turned away just as I was getting to the gate. So make sure that you get there right at 8 o'clock or even earlier if you can, if you do want your best chance of being able to get in. There are a few alternatives to launching from Wakaiva Springs, and one of them is to launch from Wakaiva Island, which is another favorite hangout for us locals, and it's just down the river from Wakaiva Springs. It costs $2 to park at Wakaiva Island, and it is a beautiful private business that is conveniently located along the stretch of the Wekiva River. Wakaiva Island is a great place to spend the afternoon and soak in the sun, relax in one of their riverside lounge chairs on the boardwalk, or even just enjoy a glass of wine or beer or even lunch from their cafe. Wakaiva Island also has its own launch area, so if you want to launch your kayaks from here, you can. They also rent canoes or kayaks, so if you don't have your own, you can always rent one from Wakaiva Island itself. If you're not able to make it into Wakaiva Springs, Wakaiva Island is a great alternative, but they do also tend to fill up quickly during the summer months, so make sure to keep that in mind. Kayaking down the Wakaiva River can be one of the most beautiful and relaxing days of your entire Florida vacation. If you're looking to get out and see more of what Florida has to offer, taking a day and enjoying it on the Wakaiva River will be one of the best ways to go. It's not too far from the major attractions, and ending your kayaking trip with a dip in Wakaiva Springs when you get back is just a perfect, refreshing end to your upstream paddle workout. If you found this information helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you would like to get more ideas for your amazing Florida vacation. If you want to see more of what Wakaiva Springs has to offer, check out my latest video that goes through an overview of Wakaiva Springs State Park. Until next time, everyone, I hope you have an amazing day and go out and enjoy some Florida sunshine.